Good afternoon and welcome to Blueprint for Efficiency, a webinar speaker series hosted by the Center for Business and the Environment at Yale and the MIT Energy Club. My name is Rashid Rahman and I will be your host for this afternoon's presentation entitled Drinking from an Open Hydrant, Early Lessons on Driving Demand for Building Energy Efficiency Programs. We would like to acknowledge the Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation for their funding support of the Carbon Finance Speaker Series at Yale. A word about our speaker series. The Yale Center for Business and the Environment and the MIT Energy Club are pleased to present the fourth annual installment of the Carbon Finance Speaker Series, Blueprint for Efficiency. This series of public webinars will feature the latest developments in energy efficiency policy, investment, technology, and community engagement, with a special focus on the Department of Energy's DOE Better Buildings program. In today's talk, Tamara Jones of the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance will discuss the SEEA's experience with launching projects under the DOE's Better Building program. The Southeast Community Retrofit Ramp-Up Consortium is a partnership established to create or expand building energy efficiency improvement programs in 13 communities across 8 states and territories. The consortium is led by the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance, SEEA, which is the primary recipient of a $20 million Better Buildings grant from the U.S. Department of Energy to improve 10,000 building units by 2013. SEEA is uniquely employing a pay-for-performance approach to allocate to sub-recipients and supporting customized programs designed to reflect local communities in an effort to identify and develop models best suited for the region. Please join us for a conversation with Tamara Jones, Director of the SEEA, who will provide an overview of the program designs and early lessons from the 13 participating communities. Now a quick word about our panelists. Tamara Jones serves as Director of Municipal Energy Efficiency Programs at the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance. Her primary responsibility is administering a $20 million grant from the U.S. Department of Energy under its Better Buildings program. SEEA leads a consortium of 13 cities in the Southeast using the grant to expand programs that result in market-driven energy efficiency improvements made to existing buildings. Prior to joining SEEA, Ms. Jones served as Director of Program Development and Government Relations at South Face, an Atlanta-based nonprofit that promotes environmentally sustainable building practices. Ms. Jones has also served as Director of Policy and Management Analysis in both the Mayor's Office and the Department of Finance at the City of Atlanta, and as Deputy Director of Grants Development for Houston Mayor Bill White. Ms. Jones holds a Master of Arts degree in Political Science from Yale University and a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from Long Island University. Please welcome a fellow Yaley, Tamara Jones, to Blueprint for Efficiency.
Thank you, Rishak, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to our conversation. Let me begin by giving a brief background on who SEEA is. The Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance is a nonprofit that's around 4 years old, a little over 4 years old. We're headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. Our mission is quite simply to drive energy efficiency across all sectors in the Southeast, not just the building sector, transportation, water, wherever energy is used. We want to be at the forefront in helping to ensure that all processes are energy efficient. We do our work through a number of programmatic areas, so from research, education, policy, at the and state level, and deployment programs such as the one we're going to be discussing today. Our service area extends across 11 states in the Southeast and two territories.
Down a bit, like it wasn't
71 million.
Could be better.
Could be better.
Okay.
And I don't know if we're always getting that with that mic or not.
Rishak?
Headphones.
Rishak?
All right. Cool. I think
Hello?
I'm good.
Rishak?
Yeah.
I apologize, everyone. I'm hearing some feedback, and I'm not sure if folks can hear me. I'll continue on the assumption that folks can hear me. I want to start with providing just a little bit of context. As most of you may know, the Southeast uses more than our fair share when it comes to energy consumption in the United States. This graph is showing that between 1997 and 2006, the total energy consumption in the Southeast increased by 13%. That's more than double the national rate of 5%. Some of the reasons for that increase are also seen on the graph. You can see that the Southeast's population growth really outstrips that of the nation as a whole, as well as the level of our economic activity. There's a lot of investment currently going on in the Southeast. We represent around 36% of the U.S.'s population, and that number is growing as more people are actually leaving the coasts and moving to areas like Atlanta. However, that 36% of the population uses more than its per capita share of energy. It's around 44% of the total energy consumed in the U.S. is the rate of our consumption in the Southeast. We do supply around 48% of the total U.S.'s energy supply. 43% of the nation's electric power is used in the Southeast, 40% of the energy used in our residences, and 38% of the energy used in our commercial buildings. And we use more in the Southeast, quite frankly, because it's cheap here. Most of our electricity, for example, is powered by cheap coal. 54% of the electricity in the South comes from coal as compared to around 51% for the country as a whole. This graph from the EIA simply demonstrates that in every major energy consuming sector, the Southeast's electricity rates are cheaper than they are for the country on average. We also have a relatively weak culture here, I guess is one way we could put it, when it comes to energy efficiency. By almost any measure, this region trails the rest of the country when it comes to energy efficient practices. This graphic is showing that the Southeast has the lowest levels of Energy Star rated homes in the country. The picture would look almost exactly the same if we were showing market penetration of Energy Star appliances. Public opinion polls consistently tell us that as a region, residents in this part of the country have a relatively weak energy conservation ethic, ranking it, valuing it much less than other energy goals. And it's with that weakness, that relatively weak attachment or weak knowledge around energy efficiency is reflected in our regional policies. The Southeast has much lower than average expenditures on energy efficiency programs. So it's not surprising to learn that in a 2009 McKinsey study, they concluded that the South has the largest energy efficiency resource of any region in the country. Almost 30% of the national potential for economic energy efficiency improvements would come out of the Southeast alone. If you add in the Southwest, you're looking at 41%. Almost half of this demand-side potential is estimated to be available in the electricity sector alone. SEEA released in 2010 a report that attempted to analyze both the presence and current practices and potentialities for energy efficiency in the region. And as part of that report, we identified a portfolio of 9 relatively aggressive energy policies that, if they were implemented, could drive cost-effective energy efficiency and overcome many of the largest barriers to energy efficiency investments in this part of the country. The table lists the 9 policy areas by sector. On the residential side, clearly addressing appliance incentives and standards, residential building, retrofits, and equipment standards, increasing the weatherization assistance program, and doing more to both with training and upgrading the building codes with a robust third-party verification system is really very important. On the commercial building side, in addition to retrofit incentives, more aggressive commercial appliance standards, and a similar set of approaches on the industrial side as well, including plant utility upgrades. The fact is that energy consumption in the South is forecasted to grow in these 3 sectors, the residential, the commercial, and industrial sectors, by about 16% over the next 20 years or so. However, if we were to implement the policies that we have identified in that previous slide, those 9 that bucket of 9 policy priorities, we could effectively flatten that growth curve. And those policy areas could be implemented by a number of different means. It's relatively neutral in terms of how you implement it. The fact is that we could reduce the demands on the energy needs for the region quite significantly simply by focusing on an energy efficiency program. Energy efficiency alone could meet the demand in this region for the next 20 years, and it has the power to retire almost 25 gigawatts of older power plants and avoid the construction of 49 gigawatt new plants over that time period. So we can build fewer new power plants, generate around 380,000 new jobs, and cut regional utility bills by an estimated $41 billion, all through energy efficiency. So seeing this potential, SEEA in 2009 put out a call to cities in the region to participate in what we called our Green Cities program. We issued an RFP and invited cities to submit proposals for how they would create energy alliances, organizations that would drive energy efficiency to transform their local communities, markets, and the building sectors. We targeted that sector in particular. We raised $500,000 in prize money from foundations and convened an advisory panel of national experts to review the proposals from the communities. We judged them according to the depth of the local governmental involvement and support, the comprehensiveness of their plans, including their program designs, milestones, the demonstration that they had an understanding of their local community's market and energy characteristics, and how innovative their programs were in terms of marketing strategy, design, technology focus, and financing options. A winner was chosen, Charlottesville, Virginia, which went on to create an energy alliance called LEAP, the Local Energy Alliance Program, and that got underway, and a lot of folks are familiar with work coming out of LEAP. Well, around a year later, the DOE announced the BetterBuildings proposal, and it offered exactly the same goals as the Green Cities program that SEEA had done the year before. So we were in a very unique position. We now had around, a dozen cities that had very well-developed proposals that could apply to the DOE. And rather than compete against ourselves, SEEA organized these cities into a consortium so that we submitted a group application. We sought $62 million to retrofit 66,000 buildings across the region. We were awarded in June 2010 $20 million, which we're using to target 10,000 residential and commercial units to be retrofitted. And the BetterBuildings program is part of the Recovery Act. The cities that are participating or sub-recipients in the grant program are listed here. In Virginia, Charlottesville and the Hampton Roads Planning District, Carborough and Chapel Hill in North Carolina, Charlotte, Nashville, Charleston in Georgia. We've got Atlanta and Decatur, Huntsville, Alabama, Jacksonville, Florida, New Orleans, and the U.S. Virgin Islands.